Happy Nigeria beating Morocco Day. In case you're wondering why we're wearing green, we didn't plan it. You know, immediately I saw Benga wearing olive green and saw myself wearing this green. I had the inspiration and I received direct rema and word of knowledge that Nigeria is going to beat Morocco today. And all of you
I agree with you.
Say aye, and the ayes have it. You're welcome to Breakfast Central. Thank you for joining us this morning. And we urge you to stick with us for the next 3 hours. We promise you to be worth your time as we x-ray some of the biggest stories across the country. My name is Olive Emodi.
And I'm Benga Bora. Welcome to Breakfast Central this beautiful Wednesday, where Nigerian Super Eagles battle against the Atlas Lions of Morocco. I mean, if you look at the Jungle Book since AFCON began, the Eagles have been devouring all the animals that are in AFCON. You know, you have the squirrels of Benin, you have the leopards, the cheetahs, the lions of Cameroon, but the eagle will continue to prevail.
Yeah. I want to kneel down. If I have to kneel down, let my enemies not laugh at me. Super Eagles.
No, I mean,
you've been making us proud. Let them not go and cut out the clip the way Algeria was boasting about sending us to Sambisa Forest. And that clip started trending after we beat them to stupor. Please, dear Nigeria Super Eagles.
I'm very
I want to be able to cut out this clip tomorrow or later tonight at 9 p.m. and use it to thank you, to thank God, and to celebrate our win. Are you an Arsenal fan?
No, God forbid.
You see, God forbid. I wonder what the Arsenal fans, Nigerian Arsenal fans are going to do, because Arsenal is playing Chelsea at the same time Nigeria is playing Morocco. Double high blood pressure.
Some would even have double screens. But Arsenal has been playing very well. They're in form, just like the Super Eagles. So it's going to be a win-win for them, I believe. Yeah. Please
don't let Johansson hear you. Johansson's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Breakfast Central. My name is Benga Boroa. We have a lot in store for you as always, but we'll start off with our wake-up conversations.
Absolutely. Panic and displacement have gripped entire communities in Tidibale ward of Isa local government area, Sokoto State, following a renewed wave of bandit attacks, allegedly led by notorious gang leader Bello Turji. The assault, which took place during a late night raid onto the Bale village, reportedly came with a chilling ultimatum. They said evacuate within 24 hours or face the consequences. The attack, just days after a similar strike on nearby Bargaja village, is believed to be a part of a violent push to seize control of the region. As a result, hundreds of residents, men, women and children, have fled to Isa town, now living as internally displaced persons. Many are sleeping in open fields with children vulnerable to hunger and illness, and families left without food, shelter or medical aid, highlighting the deepening humanitarian crisis in the area. You can see the clips. These are videos, the footage of people fleeing the area because of the threat of one person and his influence and his supporters. I'm speaking about Bello Turji, who is a well-known notorious bandit.
I mean, this is sad, and I thought the authorities said they had neutralized Bello Turji a few times, just like Shakal.
He has 9 lives, he's a cat.
Yeah, that's what we get, different communication, but this is really sad. And heartbreaking. Imagine if you have to up and leave your residence in less than 24 hours because some bandit is issuing a threat. You don't even have enough faith in the Nigerian security operatives to protect you. After raising this alarm, you would rather not take a chance with your life. You would rather leave than expect, you know, the troops and security operatives to swoop into that area and provide some form of protection for you. Imagine the logistics, the apprehension, the tension, the financial burden, and the headache they have to go through to look at this. This is mass displacement because some non-state actors, some bandits, some criminal elements decides to issue a threat, and there's a local government here. This feels like a complete breakdown of law and order. For them to comply, they would rather comply with the threat and save their lives than, you know, hope that the government will provide some sort of protection for them, which is quite very, very, very unfortunate.
It's very sad. I just want to confirm, there's a particular place, I believe in Zamfara State. I'm trying
just yesterday, a similar thing took place. We're reporting on the letter that was issued to the residents of Ikoyile in Oyo State to pay some form of protection money because the criminal elements were going to visit. And now we're seeing this in Sokoto. Very, very unfortunate incident. And let's hope that the authorities will step in and prevent this from happening, because I'm not sure it's everyone that will be able to have the financial means to evacuate the village and move to displaced camps.
Like you said, camps. Just to reiterate what Benga has said, what this shows is an inherent lack of trust in citizens. I think I'll rephrase. I think what this shows is there is an inherent lack of trust in the government by the citizens. They do not trust that the government can protect them. If one person can, they can cause that level of fear that makes people to leave for their lives. Some of the farmers were interviewed. These are people who have farms, who have businesses they're doing there. Some of them were interviewed and they said they left their crops behind. That life is more important than their crops. On the flip side, in Shinkafi local government area of Zamfara State, including Shinkafi town, Katuru, Jangeru, and Kanwa, they are reported to have entered into a truce with Bello Turji, and what that means is they've been offered some form of protection. Under the arrangement, the villages reportedly pledged not to confront or report his activities, a decision residents described as a survival strategy rather than consent.
Who the hell is this guy? Is he bigger than the state? Why can't they apprehend him? Is he not human? Why can't he be arrested or neutralized with all the intelligence they have?
Yes, there's a public commentator, Altin Guyawa. He's a public commentator on banditry and kidnapping in Sokoto East, and he said that this development has reshaped the geography of fear in the region. And what this is a power play for you to wake up and
compliant.
Yes, of course. So the thing is then, what really is a government? Who is a leader? A leader is a person who can instill obedience, who can instill respect from the people, whether we like it or not. He has established himself as a leader in some light, where
he gives orders and people comply.
People obey, where people fear him, where people respect him. It's just that the respect is not born out of loyalty, it's born out of fear. Either way, they respect him, they respect the consequences of his actions. There's also reports of how these terrorists attacked the community around 1 a.m., that there were people, they first attacked the grocery store, that they were hungry, and they killed 4 people there. Like,
it's almost
the commonality of human life, the triviality with which they have treated human life.
Zero respect. And you expect the authorities to step in with and do something about it, because this is only going to embolden them. Look at them acting like a government, issuing directives, causing mass displacement. And these individuals are members of society. They're not ghosts. And you still can't do something about it.
When did we become...
And there's also news, yes. No. It's just depressing. There's news about the federal government spending $9 million on a lobbying firm to lobby Washington to, slow down its stance on the Christian genocide. $9 million. Imagine what that would do if you put in the security sector. Yeah.
And you know what's even worse is every year you check our budget, defense gets the highest allocation on the budget. And we don't know if we feel like this war is getting much better, right?
Yeah,
it just feels like the methods are changing. At some point, yes, it was bombing, suicide bombers. Yes, we don't hear about suicide bombers. It has morphed now into kidnapping and banditry.
Yes.
And Nigerians are living in fear. While some people are going about their daily communities, one thing or the other. In Abuja, they're talking about one chance. In Sokoto, it's bandits.
And even though the government is tightening the news in terms of penalties and consequences for this, because the senator said, look, banditry, all of you will get a death penalty. It doesn't seem to be a deterrent.
Have we seen, is one thing to say it. What is the implementation of this?
Yeah.
Because even the government, a number of them have accused, there has been speculation because of how rife this has become. Citizens are now losing trust in the government and the government's ability to protect them, in the government not being complicit. But let's see what Nigerians are saying on X about this. Our first tweet this morning. I remember when the USA launched the first airstrike targeting Lokarawa terrorists in Sokoto. Their politicians were wailing that they don't have terrorists. Now, look at them, Rotimi says. Wait, is this guy a ghost? How many times have we been told he's dead? I thought General Musa had silenced and mentioned him in the afterlife and marooned him in the afterlife. I thought his veterans had been activated. Wow. What's happening, Senator Mayor says. This is so unfortunate, but you see, some of the northern governors are the ones complicating things in this fight against terrorists. Federal government are fighting terrorists while some governors are busy releasing them in the name of peace deal. The only language they hear is fire, David says. This is devastating. Entire communities uprooted, children hungry, families exposed to the elements, all the while those responsible seem to act with impunity. How long will Nigerians continue to suffer in silence? The government and security agencies must be held accountable and act immediately to protect lives and restore homes. Hashtag Sokoto crisis. Hashtag protect civilians.
They're not
hashtag end insecurity.
Uprooted because of a natural disaster. This is man-made.
If it was earthquake, we'll understand.
Yes.
You know, or a tornado of some sort. But you guys said there was no terrorist in Sokoto State when Trump sent missiles to eliminate them. And we now want to protect our oil again, Gibbs asks.
You know, the sarcastic statements, they're really not necessary.
They're not necessary.
Because,
Really
I mean, these are fellow Nigerians that are feeling the brunt of insecurity. It's not a we said this or that. It's time for us to unite and deal with it as a whole.
All right. Mohammed says this is a strategy repeatedly deployed by non-state actors, not just in Nigeria, but around the world. They attack not just to kill, but to spread chaos and fear among communities, causing them to migrate in search of safety. With villages empty and unattended, they will be free to, I don't know what the rest of his tweet is, to hide and exploit resources unseen. We have seen this employed in the northeast, now we are seeing it in the northwest. It's simply heartbreaking that innocent families are caught in the clutches of the greed of a few. When will this torment end? Mohammed asked, and I co-ask that with him. When will this torment end? We'll go on a very quick break. When we come back, we'll be taking more stories, but also taking your reactions. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube. Share your thoughts with us in the chat box. We're streaming live via News Central TV Live. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Let's now move to our next conversation. The federal government has announced the start of operations at a high-purity gold refining plant in Lagos, a major boost to Nigeria's drive to add value to its mineral resources, with a disclosure made on Tuesday by the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, during talks with Saudi Arabia's Minister of Industry and Mineral Resources, Ibrahim Al-Korayev, ahead of the Future Minerals Forum in Riyadh. Dr. Alake said the refinery, now fully operational, is part of a broader strategy to end raw mineral exports, noting that 3 more gold refineries are on the way and the $600 million lithium processing plant in Nasarawa is ready for commissioning. Developments, he said, are positioning Nigeria as a leading African minerals hub while strengthening bilateral cooperation and attracting global investment through improved standards and traceability. Benga, are you excited?
Yes, I mean, this is good. And Africa has traditionally always been seen as the mineral hub of the nation. They just come here and extract, and then we pay more to get the finished product. So it's nice to get the entire value chain so we can extract as much value from it as possible instead of just exporting the raw materials. It's nice that we're having a lithium processing plant, and we're also having a gold refining plant in Nigeria so we can play in the international market, and then some of the gains will be beneficial to the Nigerian people. The majority of the Nigerian people hope it does trickle down to them.
Yes.
And Nigerians, you know, because we're very skeptical, I believe every Nigerian has Thomas as their middle name because we like to doubt. It would be nice if some of these announcements are accompanied by, you know, a few photographic and video evidence, because videographic evidence too. Because Nigerians, you don't blame them, because they've announced many things in the past that we haven't seen.
Exactly. I think that, first of all, it's commendable what they're trying to do, because we've been a country that's been hugely dependent on crude export. And that has, in fact, with the way our budget is being drafted, you would see the benchmark of oil, especially now in the world where...
Yeah, as if it's the only thing we depend
exactly, on. Exactly. The volatility of the pricing of oil with all that's happening in the world, with U.S. invading Venezuela and all the likes, they basically let you know that we do not have certain guarantees as to what the actual price of oil would be, and we cannot solely depend on that.
So it's good to look beyond oil and diversify.
We've been talking about diversification for the long time. this shows a practicality of diversification. Initially, agriculture was meant to be the other arm, the other industry we're diversifying to. We're trying, but we haven't.
I mean, it's a good, when the president appointed Mr. Dele Aleke as Minister of Solid Minerals, people thought, what's going on here? Because he was Commissioner of Information and Strategy when the president was governor of Lagos State, and his professional career has been a journalist, and people thought, communication would be a good fit. So the president probably saw something in him, and he's beginning to show, I mean, this is what you call showing the deliverables of his ministry in 3 years. I believe is commendable. But
yeah, so what I would
like to see the benefits for
So
Nigerians.
for me, what I was trying to say is, one, this makes us no longer dependent on crude. I mean, it's not immediate, but in the long run, we'll no longer be dependent on crude oil exports, which is largely subject to global price shocks. Two, what this does is also, with the refineries being established in Nigeria, what that means is there'll be more job opportunities. So it's creating job opportunities for people who are looking to get jobs, people who are interested in the sector. The Nigerians who are very interested in jewelry, in gold. Gold is a very important stone for, even for investment. It has a huge value. There are people I know who will travel and say, every time I travel to the UAE, for example, I'll make sure I buy some gold and just keep, because it's a huge value, a huge stone. And right now in the market, gold, gold is very valuable at all.
Gold is at an all-time high.
When we have that here in Nigeria, people will no longer feel the need to travel to
and we save
UAE.
Forex,
you're saving exactly. You're saving the amount, and I would like to think that maybe the price of gold will be slightly cheaper in Nigeria, because by the time you factor in, for those who go to buy and come to sell in Nigeria, they are factoring in the logistics and transportation. And
it's possible. Who thought that? I mean, when our refineries went moribund, I mean, the government refineries are not processing anything. But look at what Dangote is doing, and we had a whole December and there was no fuel scarcity. So baby steps in the right direction. And we're looking at multiple revenue streams, like you mentioned, for the federal government. But let's take a look at what Nigerians are saying on this issue. Oma Ann says, strong partnership across regions are the way forward. Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. Big opportunities for skills and technology exchange. Okay, good, positive message there. Carlo Gambino says, are there any gold mines in Lagos? How about building the gold refineries in the location of the raw materials? Transporting raw gold from Kebbi, Zamfara, Taraba, Nasarawa, Bauchi, Gombe for refinery. There's gold in Oyo State, by the way, so Oyo State is not too far from Lagos. For refining, when they could be refined, okay, I get the point of the message, though. Iba Oluyole says, they should scrap your ministry, I beg. Legal mining accounts for 90% of our mineral exports. You're just there collecting allocation every year. It would be nice for you to prove that the illegal mining accounts for 90%. Yes. The docky says, Lagos as location already cast a shadow on the positives of this news. Tinubu is building his home. Where are the 3 additional gold refineries located? Perhaps on paper. They need to say to calm nerves and not leave everyone guessing. Brian says, more income-generating systems, but no system for accounting for the funds produced.
Well, speaking of that last, okay, let's finish with it and I'll come back to take that one.
Boris Harrison says, you take the gold from the north and refine in Lagos. Why not refine it in the north? You take oil from southeast and south-south and refine it in Lagos. Must everything be in Lagos?
Valid question. Now, going back to, there's another area I wanted us to quickly speak on before we move to the next story, is what implementation will look like. While it sounds like a great idea on paper, sounds like a great announcement, gold, lithium, these are great additions to our economy and to revenue generation. We must also talk about the risk of implementation. The risk being that if we do not have strong governance mechanisms, we don't have accountability, this might fall flat on its face. Also taking into consideration that running a gold refinery, these industries will need things like regular power supply,
You have to think about the environment too.
The environment, exactly. Has there been an impact assessment? test that has been done to see the impact that this will have on the environment and see how we can minimize it? Are we sure that, you know, transporting these will be via good roads? Our roads are in a deplorable condition. So beyond it looking good on paper, we have to look at the practical.
And also, I always think about the people in everything we do, because this might just sound like a business to business, you know, elite to elite business. How many Nigerians would they employ? How much benefits would it bring to the ordinary Nigerian? That hope is not just going to end up like a massive corporation. Imagine one individual, Elon Musk, earning more than, he has the collective wealth of half of the world's population. That's ridiculous. Not one person. What sort of system throws up that sort of inequality that one person will have the collective wealth of half of the world's population? It doesn't make sense. So if we're doing things, everyone should be able to share in the collective prosperity and good.
We must be able to divide the national cake.
God bless
share
you.
the national
Yes.
moment. Now let's move to our final story in Edo State, where Governor Monday Okpebholo has condemned the recent attack on the Palace of the Honorji of Ekpoma, His Royal Highness Zaiki Anthony Ehizioje Abumere II, by anti-kidnapping protesters who blocked highways and vandalized properties. Visiting the palace in Ekpoma to assess the damage, the governor described the invasion and looting as criminal and unacceptable, warning that those responsible would face justice. He explained that the government is intensifying technology-driven security operations across Edo Central to restore peace and law following previous successful rescues of kidnapped victims, and assured residents that decisive action will be taken against anyone who hijacks protests for violence. Benga?
Okay, let's listen to the to a few excerpts of the governor's visit to Ekpoma.
We have been doing a lot, and before this ugly situation happened, we had planned something. These people will leave our forests. We have 3 geopolitical zones. We have carried out one in Edo North. Here we are in Edo Central. We will leave no stone unturned. We must make sure that we bring these people to book. By the time we finish this operation that will happen here, these things will stop in Esa as a whole. In the next few days, you'll start seeing things happen. So I want to also beg you, by the time we carry out our operations, I'm not going to spare anybody that is involved. And nobody should come and beg me. Ekpoma Ishan will not be a safe place for them.
So there you have it. The #1 citizen of Edo State has spoken, and it said they will leave no stone unturned and they will make sure that justice is served. And by the time they finish dealing with those responsible for this, this sort of incident would not repeat itself again. So there you have it. Governor Monday Okpebholo speaking, talking tough on the vandalization that took place in the anti-kidnapping protest that happened over the weekend in Edo State.
Well, he also said that those who started the protest were not the students, that the protests that later turned violent were some people who call themselves Comrade Association, and he said a lot of misinformation had been going around, especially on social media. He says, and I quote, "I wonder how a protest will occur without the presence of the Students' Union government of that particular school." So this is, of course, a statement. This wasn't by the governor. This is a statement by the Students' Union president. But let's take a look at what Nigerians are saying about this, and then we'll come back to share our thoughts.
Fine girl. What?
Yes,
I know, fine
girl, Rita.
Yeah, Rita says, "What do you mean you will treat them like criminals? Is that why you sent your men to go and break doors of innocent young students? Why didn't you pick them at the protest if you really wanted to do something so that the majority will react? You arrested them at the late night, your own people." Okay. Agbalaka says, "When is he going to visit students he held in custody? When is he going to rescue the young people kidnapped in Ekpoma? When is he going to visit the issue of insecurity in Edo State?" Good questions there. Stephanie Omer says, "How long have those students been complaining to you about insecurity?" It says, "Typical black man, you did nothing since all this while until they started protesting. You are lucky the protest was peaceful, but don't think that locking them up will silence them. We have heard them all the way from Washington, D.C. Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Maybe he's trying to say that Donald Trump has also heard about it.
Well, it's possible that he said that. But anyway, we'll be touching more on this as we've been following up with what's happening in Edo State. But remember that your comments are welcome via YouTube. Let's now share with you our top stories, and then we'll get into the conversation proper in a moment. This morning on Breakfast Central, President Tinubu seals investment partnership agreement with the UAE. I hope that will mean freer visa access. Edo government blames foreign sponsors for Ekpoma Unrest. They call them the Comrade Association. Bandit leader Turji issues fresh threat to Sokoto communities, and we've seen them fleeing in their droves. Pesticides found in Nigerian produce 17 years after ban, according to a report. We'll bring you the newspaper front pages. Stick around for all these.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Nigeria has taken another major step towards boosting trade, investment and climate financing. This follows the announcement by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of a new investment partnership with the United Arab Emirates at the 2026 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. New Central State House correspondent Bettina Nweli has the details.
The forum has in attendance world leaders, policy experts, and international development partners. President Bola Tinubu, while commending the organizers of the event, says that Nigeria will co-host the Global Investment Forum, Investopia, with the United Arab Emirates in Lagos come February 2026. He made this known while presenting his speech at the 2026 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, where Nigeria and the UAE also signed a Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA.
As we open this new chapter, Nigeria will proudly co-host Investopia in February in Lagos with the United Arab Emirates. In the spirit of partnership, it is with great pleasure that I announce that Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates have successfully concluded negotiations on a comprehensive economic partnership agreement.
According to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, the agreement grants Nigerian exporters duty-free access to thousands of products in the UAE, boosts investor confidence, and positions Nigeria as a gateway to Africa's 1.4 billion person market under the ACFTA.
Nigerian exporters will have over 7,000 product lines, from agricultural products to pharmaceuticals, that will enter the UAE market duty-free. So that's a big one for our non-oil exports under the Renewed Hope agenda. Also, Nigeria will be diversifying and accelerating exports in various sectors. Also, Nigeria will be welcoming investors from the UAE in critical sectors such as infrastructure, financial services.
The agreement signals a major boost for Nigeria's trade, investment, and climate ambitions, strengthening economic ties with one of the world's leading financial and investment hubs. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nweli.
Well, congratulations to us on sealing the investment partnership agreement. I would hope that these will aid and facilitate.
And, you know, critics of Mr. President and the government always say, you know, this traveling on taxpayers' money is what are the benefits, what is the return on investment, what does it bring? Well, some of them have been highlighted in that report. We just have to follow through and see that it doesn't end at the stage of MOU, just envelopes, files being exchanged and signatures. We want to see things, we need to see motion and things come into fruition, into life. But it's good that Lagos will be hosting, in conjunction with the government of the United Arab Emirates in February 2026, a summit, another summit, which we hope will not be another talk shop, and that will yield results. So we can see movement here and there.
Yes, we look forward to seeing that. And, you know, part of the movement we want to see is more easier, fluid movements between Nigeria and the UAE.
People, businesses and services and people.
Yeah, it's been a lot harder than it was.
It's highly restricted.
Highly restricted.
Getting to UAE and getting to America right now is like a camel passing through the eye of a needle.
Indeed it is, but we look forward to seeing more collaborations. I mean, both countries love each other. We feel like we have a lot of ties, things that we can do together.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's an addition for us.
And we've
to have
contributed
movement
immensely to both
countries.
economies, yeah. So it should be a very symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. All right, let's come back to Nigeria. According to a detailed investigative report by Samuel Ogunsono, scientific tests have confirmed the presence of banned organochlorine pesticides in Nigerian farm soil, crops, and even in vital soil-dwelling animals that sustain the ecosystem. These chemicals, outlawed since 2008 due to their severe health risks and long-lasting toxicity, continue to contaminate the food chain, raising fears of chronic illnesses, biodiversity loss, and soil degradation.
The investigation also reveals that many farmers still have easy access to these banned substances, largely due to weak enforcement, porous borders, and poor regulatory oversight, exposing how fragile Nigeria's agricultural safety framework remains. Experts warn that the continued use of these toxic pesticides not only endangers consumers, but also undermines global food safety standards, making Nigeria's agricultural exports vulnerable to rejection. Join us to discuss the findings and their implications is co-founder, Africa Organization of Technology and Agriculture, Ikechi Agbuba. A warm welcome to you, Ikechi, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you very much.
Yes, these...
Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome, we're glad to have you. These chemicals, these chemicals were banned in 2008, yet scientific testing shows they're still found in soil, crops, and even animals. How dangerous are these pesticides, and why are they so persistent?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. These pesticides have been, they are not organic, pesticides, they are inorganic. They are chemicals that, over time, it's been confirmed that they are very poisonous and quite toxic. And they also contaminate the soil, not just Nigerian soil, generally soils. And, it causes a lot of harm on living things, even humans, even animals, livestock, crops, of course. So, and it doesn't, live like that. It stays over time. So that's why, it's really, really a major issue. Yeah. So, and also we've had a lot of reports around it which have revealed that several of these pesticides, which are organochlorine based, such as linden, aldrin, endosulfan, among others, they are actually very poisonous, and they have been banned. They have been banned since around 2008 here in Nigeria. So, and what happens is that the soil, of course, about agriculture. Agriculture is the foundation of agriculture is the soil. And of course, if the soil gets contaminated, what then happens? The crops, and of course, the livestock also depends on the crops most times, and life starts from the soil. And then, of course, when humans consume it, and you can see a lot of prevalent health cases heightening, and like I will always, advocate that the best clinic, the best hospital, the best health advisors is from the agriculture sector. Agriculture sector is a primary sector. Agriculture sector is a real sector. Agriculture sector is a traditional sector, and that's why every sector depends on it for sustenance.
Okay, now you've talked about how dangerous these pesticides are, both for especially for consumers, for the soil as well. How do they still get access to this? If they were banned in 2008, how do the farmers still get access to it? And why are there punitive measures for the use of these?
Yes, actually, yeah, they have been banned, and stakeholders and experts have also shared knowledge, because, knowledge is not just in the social media. Social media is one of the agents of, knowledge sharing. What about conferencing? What about in the classroom? What about in meetings where we have to share this knowledge and, calling for stronger regulations, better enforcement and extensive farmer education on sustainable agricultural practices to mitigate this ongoing public health and environmental crisis. So it's not just an agriculture thing. It has to work together. So it's a system thing. As the system is not strong enough, the system is not broken. As far as I'm concerned, there's no system in place yet. But I know that I will really give kudos to colleagues at the health and environmental agencies and those in the university as well. Of course, I'm an associate professor and I work in the university as well. Aside of my being a co-founder of Africa Organization of Technology in agriculture. And coming back also to your question about what can be done, this is a challenge. What are we doing? Why is it that people are still falling back? Why is it that it's still playing out? So can this be mitigated? Of course, it can be mitigated. That's why we are, there's a lot of organic, what we call organically bioeconomy now. A lot of attention, a lot of shift. There's a shift, like a paradigm shift towards organically formulated or produced pesticides and other agrochemicals, maybe herbicides and all that. Those are that have the primary resource. Those are some of the agricultural inputs that are encouraged, so that the life, our life, and also the livestock and other aspects. Come and see, this has also implication in trade, because when you are trying to engage in international trade, there's always a standard.
Yes.
And they have their quality control measures, and so that is also a red flag. That is a huge red flag for our products. Thank you.
Now, Dr. Aguba, you've mentioned quite a lot in the course of this conversation, but one thing that sticks for me is the presence of organochlorine-based pesticides that are still prevalent despite its ban and its harmful effect to the food ecosystem and, of course, biodiversity and humans at the end of the day. So are there any protections for Nigerians? Is there any organization like NAFDAC? I know NAFDAC is Food Drug Administration and Control, but does this fall under their purview to look at the food that is going from markets to the tables of Nigerians, that they are free of some of this harmful pesticides, or we're just left to deal with it by ourselves? What protection is there?
There are food safety measures, food control organizations, or other organizations that enforce these regulations, like NAFDAC. You just mentioned NAFDAC, and we also have the integrated pest management systems, which ensures the usage of safe alternatives and also adopting of advanced methods like precision agriculture. Like now we're talking about AI, we're in the advent of technology and fourth industrial revolution, where artificial intelligence and other aspects, of course, the drone thing, and yeah, so those can actually, so those organizations are working assiduously, I know, but the challenge is that it's also, there are cost implications. And like I said, I wouldn't want to shoot, colleagues on the leg, but I think there's a lot of upgrade that needs to be done on the system. I was, sharing knowledge on this, on the food control measures about a month ago at the University of Birmingham at their food safety program, and they normally invite me to share about Nigeria and the other African countries, how the food control systems are also playing out. And I met with people from China, I met students from Pakistan, from Malaysia, and you need to see from my interactions with them, because it was a knowledge sharing session. It was highly interactive. I had to allow them to talk as well, not just to share what happens. And then, yeah, so this is like a call for action, walking the talk, taking this matter very seriously. So like I said, it's a system thing. So the food supply chain has to, of course, the farmers are part of the food supply chain, and the farmers have a lot. We need to share knowledge with them. We need to go to them. We need to work with them. So what about the issues of data? Having our farmers, and we know that the majority of those that practice agriculture in Nigeria and other African countries are smallholder farmers. So how are we also enforcing policies that favor them? How are we also bringing them into the game? Let me give an instance. I was asked to engage with farmers at the River State chapter of the Michigan State University sponsored project during COVID. So and I worked with the Ministry of Agriculture and some veterinary people who were in charge of birds and all that, and I worked a lot with farmers, those in the fish and crops as well. What we found out was that actually to bring these farmers together is a major challenge. It's a major challenge even for them to come for the knowledge sharing session. This was a research which has already been announced and carried out. So I was asked to facilitate that program, and I can tell you that we had very scanty attendance. So, and at the end, those that attended, we are giving money for coming, and then those others who had it, said, okay, yeah. So, reaching to farmers is a major challenge as well. And these are practices that has to, there are practices which they need to also inculcate. There are, green, that is why in the green economy, a lot is going on right now. So it's now, a system thing. So those who are not even in agriculture are coming back to agriculture to engage with stakeholders of agriculture. Like some of us who started agriculture from, childhood, I studied agriculture, and now, I have a lot of experience, at an international level. And then why can't we now begin to, do the thing, do the talk? Why can't we be part of, that committees whereby we can invite farmers who are directly, we have extension agents. What is happening to, reaching out to extension and advisory services? We need to work with Federal Ministry of Agriculture. And then this is not just for them. Everyone is part of agriculture, because food is one of the life priorities, and food is from agriculture sector. Every sector depends on the agriculture sector. And agriculture sector is basically crops, livestock, forestry, and fisheries. Thank you.
Okay, so now where do the citizens come in? As a Nigerian citizen who has to eat, we have to access these foods. Unfortunately, we're hearing that some of them still have these chemicals. How can we protect ourselves?
For that question, I think the onus lies on each of us. to begin to reach out, and I remember during COVID, I was, I used to interface with those in the Dutch farmers and food log Dick Veerman, and he was trying to propose a strategy for African agriculture. That is the culture of going back to farming. Those days when we were growing up, we used to have, it was a culture for us to have a home garden. These days, people are no longer thinking about home gardens. That was actually how I found myself in the agriculture space. And, because my mother used to, send me to the farm as the last child at the University of Nigeria and Soka, where my parents worked. So I used to, those days, venturing into agriculture was really weird. But we all eat food. So, and I went in, I applied for agriculture, and that is why I'm here. And, if also, yeah, we have shops, we have markets where food, are also being sold. We can actually get to the marketplaces, and also, that is also why research is important. I've carried out a lot of marketing researches. I've done market research a lot, and I work a lot with farmers. I'm in a lot of farmer groups, and we know that there are, we still have, will I say, those remnants of farmers who are actually practicing safe farming, safety in farming. And yeah, we are also encouraging on usage of formulations which are organically based, because of the safety, in some of these things. And then also sometimes you have to allow the farmland and to follow. You have to ensure that you use also manures and organic fertilizers. I am part of an initiative which we try to generate organic fertilizers using human waste and surface soil from construction industry. That is also a very safe a way of farming, because what you eat is actually, what we eat is from how we practice farming. So there is a whole lot, there's a lot of transfer of diseases, and you can imagine the diseases and infection and all that from the farm, and it's not a good thing for us. So now I know the focus is on organochlorine chemicals, pesticides, using them in farming, and of course we will definitely ensure that our people have like the system, the supply chain, the value chain, and those who are also selling has to be well censored. We must have to also ensure and promote sharing sessions. We need to work with the market women. We need to work with those who are engaged in farming, not just the farmers alone, but also the marketers, the wholesalers, the retailers, and also anyone who, or any group or any player who is engaged in the brokering process. And there could even be maybe rural assemblers, depending on the products or the produce which is being sold, because food is very important. And when you talk about food crops, majorly arable crops are in high demand, and the horticulture crops also, the vegetables, we always encourage a consumption of vegetables. Like, we have ogo, we have our green, we have our water leaf, we make our soups all the time. And as you eat veggies, also, I encourage, us to eat a lot of vegetables, as we eat also the carbohydrates, stuff that we eat, the meat, eating of beef and goat's meat or pork or whatsoever, or chicken. Make sure you are eating green vegetables. It's very important. And then, of course, the fruit vegetables as well are important. What about the okra? What about the tomatoes, the onions? How much are we eating? And then coming back to the fruits as well. The regular fruits and vegetables, we have mangoes, oranges, the citrus paste, and all that. Yeah, so this is a way of also protecting ourselves because they contain a lot of antioxidants. Some people do not even understand that.
Very important discussion, Dr. Ikechi Agbugba. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. We just spoke to the co-founder, African Organization of Technology and Agriculture, Dr. Ikechi Agbugba. Thanks for the awareness your organization is doing and putting this in the front burner. We'll continue to do our best to educate Nigerians on the dangers of farming with some of this harmful pesticides that contain organochlorine. And there's a Chinese proverb that says, like you can dig your grave with your teeth.
You know what's actually
and
scary?
we're actually what you eat.
Yes, you know what's scary? He's
What
talking
did you
about,
have for breakfast, by the way?
I had cornflakes and warm milk.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
But
you were going to say something.
The scary part is he's talking about us eating our veggies, eating our proteins, and we're scared about the quality of what veggies we're eating.
Exactly.
You know what's even worse?
GMO.
What's even worse is these days you buy food and you're not sure what you're buying. There was a time I bought green and red pepper and I put it in my fridge, and for over a month,
it was still the same.
it was still very fresh. Well, I put it in the fridge and later I brought it out because I needed to observe the texture did not change. Then for plantain is the worst.
That's GMO. You're eating plastic.
They use carbide, I hear, to ripen plantain.
That's
so
terrible.
They put carbide in the plantain. When you fry it, it just tastes weird. And the sad part is, looking at it, I'm not sure I know the difference between...
I think I'm just going to have to start farming in my backyard.
I think you should be a farmer.
And I will be so...
the first lady of Nigeria encouraged that. She talked about gardening.
But gardening is different from farming. Gardening, you can make vegetables. I'm talking of farming, like you can harvest rice or horticulture, animal husbandry, cows, and the whole food chain.
Grazing, so that
the whole food chain. One other thing I want to point out is from my observation of Lagos drivers. I don't know if Last Mile has a laboratory, but I feel that some of those Danfo and Keke drivers, if they test the food they're eating, it does have some organochlorine in there. Honestly, these guys are a menace, and I hope the governments will do something about them. It's like they have their own laws. They are so rude, so terrible, they cut into you. I know we are talking about agriculture, but they have to transport. No, they have to transport the agricultural produce from the farmland to the market. And those people that are that are using the roads, they are a serious problem. They need to test them for organochlorine.
Okay, I'm sure that I'm sure that they'll take feedback and bring us suggestions and work on that. Let's now go into talking about very serious matters in Edo State. Security agencies in Edo State have intensified efforts to restore calm in parts of Edo Central following the unrest that trailed recent peaceful protests in Ekpoma over kidnapping. News Central's Amenze Bazwaye reports that the State Commissioner of Police, Monday Agbonika, says the command has intensified security operations across Edo Central and other parts of the state. He disclosed that an informal policing initiative has been activated with the appointment of the head of community policing in the area, alongside regular bushcombing exercises to flush out kidnappers and criminal elements believed to be hiding in surrounding forests. The police commissioner said the January 10th protest in Ekpoma was earlier discouraged by the command over fears it would be hijacked, noting that the warning was ignored and the protest later degenerated into violence.
Professional statements that were recorded from many of them. The thorough investigation was conducted. Like I said, some of them were picked at the scene, while others, some were picked after the incident. We were able to trace them with their photographs, and most of these photographs were even posted by them. We found them, they're all over the place and so on, and there's no this thing. Also videos were also posted. Even in the Onoge's palace, there were videos recorded, and we saw persons, and these were people we tracked. And then we, of course, while conducting investigation, we got intelligence report that led us to individuals that were arrested. We are actually doing a lot to rearrange the security of Ekpoma area. generally, and also the Edo Central. So presently, we have been able to have a very firm grip of our expressways because we realized that the problem of kidnapping in Edo North and Edo Central was in two categories: the expressways and the rural areas, whereby farmers are having challenges, and also those that have their houses in remote areas that are bordered by the bushes or the forests have some challenges. So for the challenges that we have in the rural areas, we have come up with some major strategies, and one of which is the Community Safety Partnership. And the Community Safety Partnership entails that we get all the members, the major key stakeholders within the communities, to work with law enforcement.
All right, and that's the update in Edo State. Just to mention that we began the conversation today with wake-up conversations looking at Edo State, particularly focusing on the AAU students that had been arrested by the police in Edo State in connection to the protest that had happened. And the governor has given the order that they be released and has promised that he's getting with boots on the ground and ensuring that insecurity will be an issue that is dealt with the priority that is needed. But what citizens are saying is enough of the talk, they need to see actions. But that's what we've taken so far. There's more to come this morning. Let's share with you a recap and what's coming up next. This morning on Breakfast Central, we brought to you the reports about the Nigeria-UAE trade agreements, investment partnership. And then we did have a conversation where we talk about pesticides found in Nigerian produce 17 years after ban and the implication of this. And we did bring you the Ekpoma civil disorder, the police beef up operations in Edo Central. Let's share with you what's coming up next.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. The Department of State Services, DSS, has presented 2 additional witnesses in the ongoing trial of the suspected attackers of St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, in Ondo State. The court also admitted additional exhibits in the case. News Central's correspondent Joshua Emarai reports.
At the resumed hearing at the Federal High Court in Abuja, before Justice Emeka Nwite, the prosecution called 2 additional witnesses codenamed SSP and SSC. The second prosecution witness, identified by the DSS as SSP, a retiree and member of St. Francis Catholic Church, gave highlights of the event that transpired on the unfortunate day, identifying a member of the accused as allegedly participating in the attack. Another witness, identified as SSC, also confirmed the events of the unfortunate day, alleging that explosives were also used, which led to the death of many.
Well, for now, we do not have anything less than 10 witnesses.
10 more witnesses?
No. We had fielded 3. We have at least 7. Tomorrow, we are fielding 2 witnesses. This case is very important to the federal government of Nigeria. You recall that when it happened, the entire security agency swung into action. And eventually, through strenuous and very thorough and forensic investigation, the DSS burst the bubble of the syndicate.
During cross-examination, both witnesses informed the court of the number of dead and wounded, which was widely carried by the dailies and obituary announcement.
Nothing linking my clients.
After hearing the testimonies of the witnesses, Justice Emeka Nwite adjourned the matter to January 14, 2026 for the continuation of trial. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Joshua Emarai.
I mean, this very sad attack happened in 2022, and they say the wheels of justice grind slowly, but it's better late than never. And let's hope they bring this to a solid conclusion, because I can imagine the agony the families of the victims are going through. And we do recall, it's still fresh in our memory, the terrible terrorist attacks on that St. Francis Church in Owo, Ondo State. So hopefully, justice is served at the end of the day.
I hope so too, because it was a very sad and will always be a very sad incident. We both know our friend.
Yes, we have a mutual friend who's both parents, yes.
During this church attack, and I remember how very numb she felt in that moment and how sad it was. Eventually, we were able to have a conversation with her, but that's not the way. We all know that we are going to.
It will never bring back the parents,
it will never
regardless
bring
of
back the parents. But
if
what
justice
can
is served or
help
not.
is knowing that the people who carried out these attacks are caught, they're tried, they're made to face the law, and that they do not do this to anybody else.
Absolutely. Again. It brings some form of closure to the family.
Right. Okay, we have more conversations that we'll be bringing your way this morning. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube, so please head to our YouTube channel to drop your comments and be a part of the conversation. While we're talking about insecurity in Owo is not the only community that has faced insecurity. It's something that we struggled with as a nation and still struggling with. Fear has returned to Tidibale, a small farming community in Isa local government area of Sokoto State, after a fresh threat from notorious bandits leader Bello Turji. The warning came after months of silence from Turji, a name long linked to banditry in Nigeria's northwest. Local residents say the message triggered immediate panic, forcing many families to flee their homes and farmlands. People from Tidibale are now taking refuge in Isa town, Kidan, Hamisu, and across the border in Shinkafi, Zamfara state, afraid that violence could soon follow. Women, children, and the elderly are among those displaced, while farmers who should be preparing for the planting season are instead sleeping in crowded homes or makeshift shelters.
Meanwhile, some homes in Shinkafi local government area of Zamfara state, including Shinkafi town, Katuru, Jangeru, and Kanwa, have reportedly entered into a truce with Turji. Under this agreement, residents agreed not to confront or report his activities, a move described as a way to survive and not a sign of support. Now, join us this morning for this discussion, the security expert Bala Abdullahi. Good morning to you, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central, Mr. Abdullahi.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Now, let's get straight to it. I mean, what we're witnessing is a complete collapse of state authority, where you have mass exodus of citizens of a particular community leaving because they don't believe the government can protect them, and you also have reports of communities entering into a sort of truce and paying some taxes just to protection money. Can you bring us up to speed with what is happening in some of those communities in the north?
Yes, actually, this is not new something. We saw it coming that this issue, if not handled carefully and strategically, it will be a time that will be a time when things, and even from the community, what is so important and what is so crucial for this is the
I think we have some connection issues with our guest. Maybe we'll try and connect with him directly on the phone via telephone so that we can hear and unpack these issues. It's very important that we know what's going on, and hopefully in the course of the week we also hear from security operators, because this is unprecedented. Even though it's been going on for too long, does not excuse it, where government abandons its responsibilities and then the citizens resort to self-help or they flee.
Well, and what's even sad is that they're fleeing to another community, Shinkafi, that has allegedly now entered into a truce with the bandit leader. I believe we have our guest back. Welcome. Please go ahead with your thoughts.
You can go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Yes, yes, it's a total state of collapse from the state and federal government, because one of the duties of states and federal government is to protect life and properties. And unfortunately for this side, from the government side, in terms of protection of lives and property, and the citizens now, they don't have the machinery, they don't have the power, they don't have the financial capacity to stay in their environment. So they have to flee. And that is what is happening. And throughout the Northwest, and looking at also the 2020, 26, 27 general election that is also approaching, this is also tapped with some of the political ambition of some of the political leaders, like in other similar fora that we've been saying, that this issue of banditry is all inclusive. Everybody participates in it.
Can you shed some more light on...
You find the security agencies, the political party holders, the politicians, the traditional leaders, the Islamic rulers, the Islamic leaders, the youth and whatever, including the international, the operation of the international communities and some of the miscellaneous instances. So what is so important and what is so critical, so long as the government cannot protect lives and property, believe you me, it becomes so like political apathy on the side of the public. One, the public has to resort to protecting their lives and property, and once such is done, then it will also get to a level whereby it will go out of hand from the control of the government and from the control of the public, which is now happening in some of the parts of, not only in Sokoto, but also in general affairs of Northwest. And one key that is also so important, the Northwest governors should be able to speak to themselves without selfish interests, without political statements, without administrative statement, so that when they are trying to tackle this, they can be able to address it. And one thing also that is also important is the issue of the security agencies, neither the police nor the army that are under the control of the state government. So it is also crucial for the federal government now to know and be committed that they want to protect lives and property, so that the earlier the federal government participates, convince to come in to support the state government, the better for the state government also to look areas where they will also fuse in their security boards in order to address this issue of security decadence in their states.
All right, just to confirm, there have been reports about residents in Shekafi community where the residents from Sokoto have been moving to seek shelter. That these people in Zamfara have entered into a truce with Bello Turji, and part of the agreement is that they will not report his activities, and as such, he doesn't terrorize them. Instead, he then unleashes terror on other communities, but not theirs, because they've entered into a truce with him. How true is this? How common is this in that region? And how did we get to this level?
This is very true. Where the citizen becomes so disappointed, where the government cannot protect lives and property of the citizen, the only option the citizen resorted was to see this bandit leader and say, please, we want to seek for this. Then the bandit leader had to also give them some conditionalities, which they all abided by. Not only in Sokoto, in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Kaduna, some part of Bilingwari, some communities resorted to seeing the bandit leaders agree to the terms and conditions so that their lives and properties can be protected. But some of the conditionalities the community usually pay to this bandit was some of money, some of farm produce. In fact, let me tell you, in some of these villages, the community, the bandit leaders now are the one doing the judges, are the one sentencing, are the one trying, are the one doing the ADR, alternative dispute resolution, in some of the communities. So the communities doesn't have any alternative than to resort to this bandit and accept all the conditionalities laid down by the bandit. This shows the total state collapse by the side of the government, state government, and the federal government. And if care is not taken, if this should go on, believe me, we don't know where we are heading to. Maybe we are heading to some of the stateless society, which are becoming to this administration.
Mr. Abdullahi, let's talk about another dimension to this, and because you said what it looks like is state collapse, complete collapse of the state and any authority of the state, because we'll have non-state actors calling the shots and forcing thousands of people to be displaced, and the government seems to be able not to do anything about it. And that's where my question comes in. The United States of America, for example, conducted airstrikes against certain targets in Sokoto on Christmas Day, and President Trump has threatened that it might not be a one-off operation if these attacks continue on communities. The United States Africa Command just yesterday said it delivered new security equipment to Nigerian authorities in Abuja. Do you think the fact that there's now open cooperation between the United States and the Nigerian government would bring some sort of resolve and succor for the people in the Northwest that are facing the challenges of banditry and terrorism? Will it make any difference on the ground?
It's so unfortunate that in Nigeria, some of this, the government is now inviting foreign governments, especially in the US, to come and assist, US, France, to come and assist in fighting against the insurgents. It's very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. Our soldiers, if given the opportunity, they can fight these menace. The only thing is for Nigeria to be as sovereign as it is, as sovereign as is expected. But relying on you, let me tell you, U.S. government is in Nigeria now to harness mineral resources, including gold and some vital resources. But there is nothing, no more, no less, that the U.S. government is here to assist, to fight for this, to fight for that. Those statements were made in order to have reasons several against any attack by the U.S. government in any country across the globe. For example, in Iraq, when U.S. wanted to attack Iraq, they said they had weapon of mass destruction. A committee from NASA went in to investigate, and they investigated. They came out with the report that there was nothing like weapon of mass destruction. But the U.S. government went ahead to attack Iraq. There's something in Iran. There's something in all these countries, including in all these countries that the U.S. is attacking. So the issue of U.S. saying they want to come to assist Nigeria, believe me, they are here harness resources, available resources deposited in Northwest, and not only in Northwest, in all the areas. And let me tell you also, give you a shortcut that wherever you see any foreign national giving assistance, believe me, that country has resources. That country is going to be a satellite for the attacks of its neighbors, or it has mineral resources. And it's just like Nigeria now that is happening. They will come, attack people in order to divert attention and get the resources which they wanted. There is nothing like assistance.
Wow. So what immediate security measures? I mean, I think what we're looking for is more long-term, but what immediate security measures can we put in place right now? These residents are fleeing. Some of them went to bed or woke up in their homes, but they will no longer be sleeping in their homes. So what short-term measures can the government put in place?
Yes. The short-term measures government cannot put in place because the government attention is now diverted towards election. How are they going to win election? That is the only attention, the only news, the only solution they are looking for. Ways, strategy, and manner they will follow to win election. But the short-term measures that they should be able to do that is commitment, total commitment, political will that they want to address this. And they know all these people that are participating in the banditry or in the other insurgency. They know, they have the list. The DSS have the list, have the number, have the location, have everything. And these bandits are also calling the telecommunication agency. They know they have this, they can track this, they know whatever they want to do. So if they are really committed to save lives and property, they can address this, believe me, within 2 to 3 weeks, because our soldiers are well trained. If given the opportunity, if given the allowances, if given the weapons, the weaponry, if given all the support they needed, then the civil military support can come in now. Then the public will now support government. But believe me now, to the extent that now the government have to work harder enough to gain the public empathy, to gain the public support. Because now that the public is losing the support, is losing the confidence in the government. So it's also another strategy that will also help in having this minister. Otherwise, we don't know where we are heading to. The attention is just to win election.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Bala Abdullahi, finally, before I let you go, in less than 1 minute, if you can, please, I would really appreciate it. This notorious bandit leader, Bello Turji, there's been reports that he's been neutralized in the past, and it hasn't. We know he's still alive, he's issuing threats, and has been a menace to his community. Why is he so elusive, and how much influence does he wield in the Northwest?
Well, you know, in every war, for you to win the public heart, for you to win, part of the winning game in war is propaganda. And this propaganda can be two types. The propaganda can be true, the propaganda can be lie. So you can send signal information, fake information, for them to get what you want. You can send also information that are very true for them to get what you want. But it's just a strategy the non-conventional and even the conventional ones are using to win the public heart or to send some signals to the public authorities. But it's normal in every war. The non-conventional and conventional can also do the same.
All right. Thank you very much for your time with us this morning. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. This rather unpleasurable conversation, I must add. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to break now. When we come back, we have more conversations. Please stay with us. State continues after protests over kidnappings and insecurity turned violent, with blocked roads, vandalism and attacks on property reported. The Benin High Court has remanded 52 suspects, including Ambrose Ali University AAU students at the Ubiaja Correctional Center, until the 26th February 2026 on charges ranging from malicious damage to armed robbery.
This has caused widespread criticism, but the Edo State government says the incident was not a peaceful protest, but a coordinated riot allegedly sponsored from abroad, rejecting claims it was student-led. Join us now this morning on Breakfast Central is the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Edo State, Prince Kasim Afegwa. A warm welcome to you, Prince Afegwa, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, Honorable Commissioner, your government says that the protests were hijacked by unknown elements that have been sponsored from abroad. If that is the case, then why do you have this 52 students of Ambrose Ali University? Why are they under detention by the security operatives in your state?
Well, I think credit must be given to the governor who has been on ground in Ekpoma since on Saturday with respect to nipping this crisis in the bud. You see, Nigerians are quick to run to hasty conclusions when it comes to decisions being taken by government, but they also forget that the government has different platforms, avenues, and sources to investigate an issue and draw conclusion from that. When you had what we had in Ekpoma was not a protest, it was a riot. Going by the outcome and what we have seen in terms of our assessment of the situation, you don't say you are protesting about kidnapping, then you now constitute yourself to another lawless situation, you also behaving like kidnappers. You can't be protesting and you go to the palace of the king to vandalize whatever you see there, vandalize buildings, vandalize vehicles, you looted shops, you carted away things, you see goats, you keep, you carry away, you see ram, you kill, you carry away, you are chasing cows and all of that. That is not a protest, that is a riot. What we expected was for them to carry out a peaceful protest to draw attention and also create awareness amongst the people over what they consider as kidnapping in their domain. But when we are dealing with the issue of kidnapping, you are visiting, this kind of energy into vandalism, destruction, and what have you. Then you have not solved the problem. You have not even assisted us in finding solutions. Rather, you are compounding the solutions. So what the governor did was to carry out actions that will mitigate the spread of the crisis, and they have done that. Yesterday, we had a meeting with the student union government of the Ambrose Ali University. We also had meetings with some of their principal management officers, and it was concluded that those who were not part and parcel of that protest or riot will be freed. But it's not everyone 52 that's a student. I think people must get this right. Not every member of that 52 is a student, because from the profiling we have done, we've seen that some are just looking around Ekpoma, doing Yahoo business, into illicit drugs and what have you. And when they ask, they say they are students. Some have graduated long ago, they are just hanging around and all that. So we are sifting the seed from the chaff, and the governor has given directive that those who were not involved, who are students, should be released immediately. And I'm sure by this morning you will hear that almost, majority of them will be released based on the evidence before us now.
Confirm, because the last information we had was that the governor had directed that they be released. So they are not yet released.
This morning, I haven't spoken to the Commissioner of Police, but I'm aware that the Inspector General of Police also gave directive to the CP to release those who, are not culpable. But there are some that are culpable. Those ones will be made to face the full wrath of the law. They were operating under what they call Ambrose Ali Comrade Community. Only God knows what that is. And so we need to profile them further so that it doesn't become another amalgam of court members and what have you that carry out these dastardly acts. So if you want to help government, you help government by profiling solutions. Government is you and I. It is not just about one institution versus the other. It's a collective indulgence, it's a constructive engagement kind of scenario. It shouldn't be a matter of you destroying government, property or people's property, looting shops and all of that, and you say you are trying to raise awareness with respect to the issue of kidnapping. So essentially, by today, those persons will be released.
All right. Now let's talk about the manner in which the arrest was carried out, which was another issue that was highlighted. There were reports of the arrest being carried out in a manner that seemed more like, it didn't seem very professional. There were videos that were alleged to have been videos from the night of the arrest where they accused the police of visiting these hostels and, shouting and saying they should break down the door, tear gas them if they have to. Is that an issue that is also being spoken about or addressed by the government?
As I said today, when the meeting was held with the student union government and the management of AAU, they confirmed to us that no police came into the premises of Ambrose Ali University. There are too many false narratives out there. There are quite a number of videos you see that are orchestrated, but we are getting to the nitty-gritty of actually the rationale for this particular riot. They are testing waters. Some people want to make Edo ungovernable for the governor, and they decided that they were to start from the governor's own senatorial district just to create a bad press for us. You see, the point must be made. You cannot, under the cloak of being a student, carry out nefarious activities and you want to be treated with kid gloves. There are kidnappers that we have arrested before now who are also students of some schools. There are persons who have arrested for armed robbery who are also students. So the fact that you are a student does not mean that they don't indulge in antisocial activities or vices. Well, there were 3 persons that were arrested in that same Ekpoma in the last 1 week. When they searched their home, they saw bullets, they saw Indian hemps, they saw tramadol, and all of this. So once these persons are under the influence of alcohol or illicit drugs, they can indulge in all kinds of unholy activities that will lead to breakdown of law and order. So it is not just about pointing students using it as the denominator of this discussion. No. It's about looking at the issues and those who are involved. Police may have arrested 52, fine. They will profile them, they'll ask questions. And in the process of doing that, the governor has also been on ground, moving from different persons, institutions and all of that, talking to them and trying to get on-the-spot assessment. And so in the final analysis from the revelations yesterday, it was obvious that the people who are claiming to be students were actually not students, and some of them were students. So the governor has given that directive. We hope that the police will carry out their own investigation to a conclusive end so that we can begin to interrogate other ancillary factors that led to this particular riot.
Say that the police have said they didn't enter. We want to play a video. Please take a look at this video and confirm if you know for sure that this is not the police entering into the hostel of the students. So that's one of the videos that have been alleged to be the video of the police invading the hostels. Can you say for sure if that really is not a true representation of what happened?
That video is not revealing anything. The video is just showing a building, which is not hostel of Ambrosali University. It may be a structure in town because Ambrosali University is both off and on campus. So there are people who built quite a number of buildings, they call them hostels and all of that, outside the campus. Perhaps maybe that is one of them, but not inside the school premises.
When we come back, we'll expand a little further on that before we move to our next issue.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. We're currently looking at the Edo State government demonstrations that happened over the weekend and the aftermath of it. Joining us this morning for this very important discussion is the Honorable Commissioner of Information and Strategy at Edo State Government, Prince Kasim Afegwa. Thanks for staying with us, Honorable Commissioner. A lot of critics of your government have said that the government has done nothing about the genesis of all of this, which is insecurity in SN East local government area. They claim your administration and your principal is more interested in 2027. There are billboards that say 2027 Ashiwaju is settled, that the government has made, the governor has made statements about promising Mr. President millions of votes, and it has left the kidnappers to have a free reign of terror in this state, and that's what led to the protests in the first place. How would you respond to them, and what's the Edo State government doing about the growing insecurity in some parts of the state?
I think you should always expect politics in every, act such as this, and that is why, to some extent, we're also coming to the conclusion that this was more political than even raising concerns about issue of kidnapping. It is the situation in Ekpoma and other environments is not as precarious as the one presented by those who are criticizing the governor. No. During Christmas and New Year celebrations, the governor was praised for his ability to maintain a level of stability and crime-free scenario during this unitide, particularly Edo South, Benin City Metropolis, and other places. What you have in the case of the Ekpoma was unfortunate. It was more or less like an eye-opener because we have put a lot of measures in place. We have done a lot of bush combing by security agencies, police, DSS, and civil defense. We had made several arrests, from Edo North, Edo Central, and Edo South, several. Even as I did before yesterday, about 11 kidnappers were still arrested and some 9 persons were freed. So it is not that we are not working. We are working so well. We are investing in security. Even as a private citizen, the governor was involved in what they call Atinapa in Edo Central, where he had to even invest his own money and bought vehicles and all of that to assist local efforts of vigilante to checkmate incidences of insecurity. So it will be out of place for anybody to say we are not invested in security or we have not invested in security. The point is, when crimes want to come up, or crimes and criminalities, or the criminal, he doesn't tell you, he doesn't announce himself. And Edo is a transit state. When you are going to the north, you pass through Edo. You are going to the southeast, you pass through Edo. You are going to the south-south, you pass through Edo. You are going to southwest, you pass through Edo. So a lot of these crimes are mobile in action because when they come in, they do things, they exit. So we have put measures in place and we will continue to put measures in place. We have not gotten to the nadir that we want to get to, but I can tell you that we have made an appreciable impact based on the realities of what existed before we came on stream, what existed in Edo, to the point that even chairman of the opposition party was kidnapped and all of that, so many other kidnapping activities. And some of these elements of bad losers, those who felt that the election of 2024 has not been settled, they are still, venting their anger and all of that. That's why you see they would rather prefer this kind of scenario, this kind of narrative in Edo, to begin to denigrate the governor and and stigmatize him. So in line with what they had campaigned with before now. But if you ask an average Edo person, they will tell you that our anti-corruption initiatives and effort has yielded a lot of fruits. You celebrated Christmas in Benin City. There was no one incident of killing. It wasn't like that before. You have courtesan, killing people, court, intra-court, and inter-court persons, killings. All of that has stopped now. We have succeeded in demolishing quite a number of houses of kidnappers, those who have identified, who are the locals, who are collaborators with external factors. And we will continue to sustain this until we get to a level that, yes, we can say we have reduced it to the barest minimum. So what we plead with the Edo people, the rational ones, the saner ones, is that they should understand and bear with the government that security is a collective endeavor. It is between you and I. And what the police, deploy in ensuring that there's proper security is the information and intelligence they gather from the locals. So if you see anybody, strange movements around your vicinity, around your area, you alert the police. It is not enough to say government. Who is government? It is you and I. So we want a collaborative effort. From this incident of riot, we have, unveiled a practice in Ekpoma where landlords will rent out a room to 10 people. And these 10 people are not being profiled. He doesn't know them. but is interested in the money. So what we are telling them now is that, see, before you give your house to anybody, profile the person, obtain some level of police collaboration so that you know the person you are keeping in your house. You can't give a house, a room, just a room, to one individual, and between 2-3 weeks, about 10 persons are now living there because you want to collect more money. So we are doing quite a number of collaboration. We are talking to the locals, we are talking to market women, we are talking to opinion holders in those areas, not just in Ekpoma, in Auchi and other places. And we have also procured some equipment, which we are going to deploy soon. You know, in Edo North now, there's the use of drone to track kidnappers. So once they know that their actions are taking place, they are now migrating to neighboring states. And there's also a high level of collaboration between Kogi Delta and Ondo State with respect to issue of kidnapping. Because this person don't stay in one place, they just kidnap you into the forest and they take you to travel several kilometers into the forest. So we are making, you know, a whole lot of holistic efforts.
These are very impressive efforts. These are very impressive efforts. You know, we must commend these efforts, and we look forward to seeing them materializing and seeing what the impact will be. But I'm sure you can understand the skepticism that citizens express, because what we've seen over time is usually when governments make lots of promises that they're unable to fulfill. One of the complaints we've received from our viewers who are in Edo State or who have to ply the roads are the state of the federal roads. You know, they have complained terribly about the state of the roads. We got pictures, especially during the festivities, pictures of Uromi, Ewu
and
road,
videos.
you know, and videos as well of what the road looks like. And if we're fighting insecurity, when a bandit attacks a person and they're on a certain road, how do you expect them to escape when the road is not properly motorable? You know, it's not motorable. Another criticism that we've heard leveled against your administration beyond the bad roads is the fact, again, doubling down on what my colleague said earlier about politics. I mean, we saw the video where the governor of the state had insisted that all commissioners wear the Ashiwaju cap. I believe that's, you know, one of the caps, the infinity logo that you have on. And what we hear citizens say is it feels like we're putting politics first. There's a lot of politics. What you're sharing now, they don't have enough information and, you know, practical seeing of what the government is doing as opposed to, you know, when it comes to the political angle. So what would your response be to those who complain about the politics and saying the politics is too much? We're not yet in 2027. And as far back as last year, it felt like all we were hearing was politics, politics, politics. What about our bad roads? What about our insecurity?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can. Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. You see, it will be good to know the faces of those who are complaining, because we know that everything about Edo is politics. They will give you politics, but they won't tell you. They are showing you pictures of bad roads, which we inherited, but they won't show you pictures of good roads that we have fixed. Before now, we inherited a state where the former governor, rather than carry out consultation with federal government to fix federal roads in Edo, choose to erect signposts saying, we are sorry, Edo people, this road belongs to federal government. Is it federal government people that are applying the roads? The answer is no. Meanwhile, state roads were also left abandoned. We have done quite a number of them, and we are still doing. But you know, this is the first dry season that we are really going to invest so much in road construction. You can't construct road during the rainy season. Dry season has just set in. Even as we speak, rain still falls in Edo sparingly. Now we are fixing a lot of roads. Tapele Road is one of them. Even the Ekpoma Road, the Uromi Road, they are telling you. We have commenced. They will not show you the part that we have done. If you see what we inherited, I personally told the governor, say, these roads are quite an eyesore, and yet the people felt comfortable with the previous government. It was more or less like a propaganda government. But now we are facing quite a number of them. Uromi to Udomi Road has been fixed and is nylon tar. The Sapele Road is being constructed, and you can see that almost on a daily basis where they are working. In another 3 months, we'll fix that. We are fixing the Ikobahi traffic log jam and all that by putting a flag over. We made motorable Benin Ekpoma Road. Before it was abandoned, people were now taking the other road from Oluku down to Ifon down to Edo State. So even the Ekpoma Agbede Auchi road is being worked on as we speak. It is not enough, for people to just run criticism and and condemnation and all of that. But it is for them to appreciate that road construction will not start in one day and end the following day. It takes a process, and that process must be done right so that the durability of those roads can be guaranteed. I'm not telling you that we can fix all the roads in this dry season, but we have started quite a number of them. Like Iruek went to Sabugida Road, they abandoned it during their time. It's a state road. We are fixing it as we speak. So there are quite a number of roads. Idara to Auchi Road, we are working on it now. Anybody can go there, they will see it. We have completed some. So we are not going to be hasty about this. We will carry out methodical approach in fixing all of this so that their durability can be guaranteed. And I can tell you that the idea of saying that we are wearing Asiwaju cap or no cap, it's an APC government. Asiwaju is the leader of the party. Before you become a commissioner or an appointee, you must buy into the vision, aspirations, and yearnings of the APC as encapsulated in its constitution and the Renew Hope agenda. And the Renew Hope agenda is intervening on a number of socio-economic areas to make life better for the people. So if what they quarrel with is about wearing this cap, it has not stopped me from reasoning rationally. It has not stopped me from also interrogating scenarios and issues that are affecting governance in Edo State. And for those of us who are here to prove a point that positive governance is possible, practical governance is possible, we are continuously engaging the governor to ensure that the resources we get from the federation account and even our locally generated, internally generated revenue is applied judiciously to confront some of these economic challenges. So it is not just about criticism. Let them be constructive, let them be engaging, let them also be factual.
Sir, we have 30 seconds. We have 30 seconds to go. We've run out of time. If you can please quickly address the case of Don Pedro Obaseki. Sorry? We have 30 seconds to go. If you can address Don Pedro Obaseki, who was stripped and assaulted in Edo State. Do we have an update on that?
Official statement. The state government.
It wasn't a government activity. What kind of update? The point is that individuals who live in glass houses must know that they shouldn't throw stones. The Benin monarchy is an institution that has survived several centuries in its history, and the Benins, and particularly the Edo State people, they revere the Oba of Benin like a semi-god, and that is what we inherited, that is what we came to meet on earth, and there's a current Oba of Benin now. Whether home and abroad, the Benin monarch is the only one king all over that I know of that is being prayed for in his absence. Oba Tokbae, they will say, long may you reign. Whether he's in your gathering or not, whether he's present or not, once you are doing any activity as a good person, you still say Oba.
But do you, Honorable Commissioner, do you condemn the attack on his person, the physical assault and the humiliation?
We have said it before, that we condemn a jungle justice. If anybody has issues with any individual, they should apply civilized way of addressing those issues. And even the police is carrying out investigation. I'm sure they must have concluded certain persons were arrested, and I'm sure they will prosecute them. It's not. We are not condoning rascality. We are not condoning gangsterism. But individuals must be responsible enough to know how to operate within an environment which define their upbringing ab initio.
Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Edo State, Kasim Afegwa, thank you very much for your time with us, and we wish the Edo people well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. It's been quite a conversation, a heated one there, but we're going to break. When we come back, Benga will be bringing you breakfast headlines. Please stay with us.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aborowa. The World Bank says Nigeria is on course to record its fastest economic growth in more than 10 years, upgrading its forecast to 4.4% for 2026 and 2027. In its latest Global Economic Prospects report, it says growth rose to 4.2% in 2025, driven by expansion in services, modest agricultural recovery, and Nigeria's emergence as a net exporter of refined petroleum products. The stronger outlook is expected to be supported by continued growth in services, a rebound in agriculture and economic reforms. The bank noted that higher oil output could help boost revenues despite weaker global oil prices. However, it warned that sustained growth will depend on addressing long-standing structural and institutional weaknesses to ensure durable and inclusive gains. In the meantime, the Department of State Services has presented 2 additional witnesses in the ongoing trial of suspects accused of the St. Francis Catholic Church attack in Owo, Ondo State. At the Federal High Court in Abuja, witnesses recounted how the attack occurred during a Pentecost Sunday service, describing gunfire, explosion, and efforts to flee for safety. Testimonies linked some of the offenders to the shooting, while another was alleged to have carried a bag suspected to contain explosives. The witnesses also described sustaining injuries during the chaos and later learning of the number of casualties through published obituaries. Additional exhibits tendered by the prosecution were admitted without objection. After the testimonies, the trial judge, Emeka Nwite, adjourned the case until January the 14th, 2026 for continuation.
Well, for now, we do not have anything less than 10 witnesses.
10 more witnesses?
No. We had fielded 3. We have at least 7. Tomorrow, we are fielding 2 witnesses. This case is very important to the federal government of Nigeria. You recall that when it happened, the entire security agency swung into action. And eventually, through strenuous and very thorough and forensic investigation, the DSS burst the bubble of the syndicate.
Nothing linking my clients.
The federal government of Nigeria has received fresh delivery of military equipment from the United States as both countries deepen security cooperation in the fight against terrorism. The shipment followed joint counter-terrorism operations carried out on December the 25th against Islamic State-linked militants in Sokoto State. The United States Africa Command described the items as critical supplies meant to strengthen Nigeria's ongoing efforts against extremist groups without disclosing specific details. The development comes amidst broader diplomatic engagements between Abuja and Washington, including a recently signed contract by Nigeria's National Security Advisor with the United States-based firm to engage policymakers in the Trump administration. The latest report highlights renewed U.S. involvement in addressing security challenges in Nigeria's northwest. Retired Major General Chris Olukolade joined us earlier in the news to discuss the likely impact of the U.S. delivery of military supplies to Nigeria. Here are some of his views.
Can be attributed to recent developments in relation to the promise and commitment on the part of the United States to support Nigeria's military operations against the terrorists operating in different parts of the country. So this should be seen as a furtherance of that commitment, and it's evidently a good development that should be celebrated. For strategic reasons and even security reasons ordinarily, it is not proper at this time to disclose the details of those equipment that have been delivered in support of the mission. It is good enough that we know that, tangible efforts are on to give price to the operation. When we see the effect in the field, everybody will be no doubt whatsoever that the equipment have been of value in terms of enhancing the mission of the Nigeria security operations against the terrorists in those parts of the
United States President Donald Trump has urged anti-government protesters in Iran to keep demonstrating, saying help is on its way, without specifying what form that support might take or when it could come. His comments come as thousands are feared dead following a violent crackdown on weeks of protests, with an Iranian official telling Reuters the toll could be around 2,000 people. Human rights groups say one protester, Irfan Sultani, faces imminent execution calling the speed of the case unprecedented. Meanwhile, an ongoing internet blackout in Iran continues to limit independent verification as some citizens manage to contact relatives abroad.
And in different forms, including economic help from our standpoint, and not going to help Iran very much. And, you know, we put Iran out of business with their nuclear capacity, and now, depending on what's actually happening, nobody's been able to give us accurate numbers about how many people they've killed.
Well, on that point,
it looks
Mr.
like
President,
it could be a pretty substantial number, and that's going to be a lot of problems for them. The end game is to win. I like winning. Let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out. Let's define it with Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where he wiped out their Iran nuclear threat in a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration, as it turns out, which is what I said initially. Then some questioned it, and they said, you know, Trump was right. So we've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, you know, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging.
And that's all on Breakfast Headlines. Remember, you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, AVO TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Benga Aborowa. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's now bring you the newspaper front pages. Joining us to review the front pages, public affairs analyst Theophilus Akatuba. Good morning. Good to see you always. Thank you for joining us.
Again, until
no, now we've seen you
keep saying
Happy New Year. It's true.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Nice to meet you.
I haven't sent Happy New Year messages to all my family members. No, this grain is in celebration of Nigeria's win against
Morocco. Yes, anticipated win.
Yes. Okay, I like that.
Thank you so
I like
much.
the sense
we're acting in faith. And then tomorrow is going to be Armed Forces Remembrance Day.
It's going to be a tough match. First. The toughest match of the tournament is going to be, and I hope...
What's going to make it tough? Because we're playing against a host nation.
Anytime Nigeria plays a nation like Nigeria will play a host nation, you can imagine what Morocco...
You should expect hostility.
Yes.
I like that.
The Ivorians came with everything, including voodoo.
Yes. In the last AFCON, we lost in the finals too, but this would be a different tale.
Well,
but let's get straight into our newspaper headlines. I believe we should start with...
let's see which one is juicy. Let's start with Tribune, Nigerian Tribune, actually. Okay. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, U.S. delivers military supplies to Nigeria. 129 terrorists arrested, 55 killed, 309 hostages rescued in Kwara and Kogi, according to the police. Without going further, okay, top left rather, our church massacre. DSS lists 10 witnesses, tenders more documentary evidences. All of this is speaking about insecurity. So maybe we'll start with the state of insecurity in our country. And you can see the picture there. They say the picture is a picture of the United States forces delivering critical military supplies to Nigerian partners.
But they've refused to disclose what sort of weaponry and equipment it is for security reasons. But how have we fared since the December 25th bombings in terms of insecurity, and how much of a difference will this equipment that just arrived make on the ground?
Like I said the other time, Nigeria had been suffering from lack of capacity and resources to adequately and effectively fight insecurity. You know, it's not easy for the government to open up and say we do not have the resources. We've got to have a psychological part of the war by declaring that we have the capacity to fight so that our enemies will not take advantage of such lamentation. However, the reality is that the Donald Trump classification of Nigeria as a country of particular concern has been, the government have taken advantage of it to set up a collaboration that is now resulting in this type. So in terms of how we have fared, since 25th of December attack, there has been some kind of, upsurge of confidence, of moral boosting for our military men. and they've made some more gains since that time. And you've seen that the terrorists themselves have also gone on a low scale. And
well, Bello Turji hasn't gone low-key because he's threatening, he's issued ultimatums to communities, and we've seen mass displacements in parts of the northwest where people fear for his attack because he's issued ultimatums.
Yes, he's still alive, and it's
still causing issues and problems
of the strategy or the tactics of his terrorist activities. What I can assure you, with these supplies and more supplies that are coming, should be able to give our security forces, you know, an upper hand against them. I believe that because the military can be the best military in the world.
But without
enough adequate ammunition and equipment, they can't do much because this is a war where the military of Nigeria is known, but the terrorists are unknown. You won't be able to tell who's a terrorist in a crowded place. But you will spot out a Nigerian military official, military personnel, or security agent once you see him. So it's a very difficult war.
Okay.
And
let's move to some positive.
We should credit the fact that our country turned around the gun-blazing threat of Donald Trump.
Well, he said it's still on the table.
Yes, I believe he should have done more strikes. I know the strikes are quite expensive. I believe he should have done more, but the fact that he did that and said he could do it again,
he shouldn't.
It's a welcome development in the spirit of the collaboration.
In your opinion, though, but I mean, I beg to disagree. We're a sovereign nation, and I believe our military assets have what it takes to deal with terrorism.
I know that's your position always.
Yes,
I know that, and I respect it.
Okay, let's move on to some other positive stories here, and let's hope it's the last we will hear of ASU's threat to go on strike.
Today
the government begins implementation ahead of agreement signing with ASU. They have ticked some of the boxes that ASU had demanded for, and one box that stands out, or one of the major issues, is 40% increase in their remuneration for lecturers and members of ASU. So that's a good one.
Yes. I like to say that when I look at how this government have managed universities' relationship with lecturers, I'll give them a better mark compared to previous administrations. If you look at the intervention that they have brought in the student loan fund and how they have responded to ASU each time they have, threatened to go on strike, and how they have even resolved if there was any strike at all, is impressive in comparison with previous administrations. Now, however, I like to say that I have always been saying that ASU need to be a bit more creative in order to find solutions to the many problems that are plaguing our educational sector. One of it is lack of funding. And when you don't have funding, you can't have quality university education. Even the West have recognized that long ago. And they have allowed and made it possible. Let their people pay full cost.
How would they have
give scholarship and loans? They can only have fund if government pulls out of funding universities.
And then
universities have to charge the right fee, and then loan facilities should be granted.
But wouldn't it be beyond the reach of a lot of Nigerians?
You can't have something of quality without cost. So we need to agree.
But during your time, it was not that expensive.
No, when you say
it was free.
No, that is how we started. We started on a note of development. So we will get to a stage where you can't afford it. For example, you have more Nigerians now, more children being born, and at the time we were having free education, giving free meals. How many people were interested in education? So the more you have, you cannot continue to carry that burden. What will happen is that if you keep carrying it, qualities will keep reducing.
Just like
our
subsidy.
Lecturers will keep jackbarring, and then you won't be able to fund it. So education is expensive. If we can, I believe Nigeria should put a lot of effort in primary and secondary education to the extent that anyone who finishes from that level should become employable.
The quality of education
Absolutely.
that they've got.
You can boost that part.
I mean, because in other climes, it's not everybody that has a university degree, and they do very well in life.
Right. Okay, let's, before we go ahead, mention to our virtual audience, now is the time for YouTube comments and phone calls. So please head to News Central Live on YouTube, where we're streaming live, and drop your comments on any of these stories on the front pages of the papers, and I will be taking comments from the chat box. I can see the conversations there. Olumide Alade says, let us assume that the 2023 to 2027 period of governance has been influenced by re-election considerations and political strategy. I hope that once these ambitions are resolved, 2031 governance will fully refocus on delivering meaningful benefits, enabling citizens to enjoy the true dividends of good governance. This is in response to...
It's not a strategy.
Hope is not a strategy, but this is in response to
our interview with
the Commissioner of Information and Strategy in Edo State. Timo Umbiko, I've seen your comments, but please, if I take it...
It's not rated. It's not television.
It's not television rated. I've seen Mokunye Chukwuemeka's comments as well. Victor Okebata says, this man speaking is part of the problem. We need external help, especially from the Americans.
Oh, wow.
It's only terrorist sympathizers who claim that Americans are coming for our resources. Do you want to respond to that?
To that? Well, America is a very transactional country.
America that's going to kidnap a sitting president and his wife.
Under the regime of Donald Trump, he has said he will protect and defend anyone who can pay for it. That he has started without asking for money doesn't mean who asks for something.
Exactly. And let's respect. And let's stop gaslighting
Nigeria should
people.
Enjoy the help, but be prepared.
And saying that if you don't like American support, it means you're a terrorist sympathizer. That's a very pedestrian way of thinking, and it's gaslighting. You have the president of America himself has said it, that they're going in for the oil, that Venezuela's oil belongs to America. He has gone there to kidnap the head of state on frivolous charges of drug peddling. And the organization that he said the president was heading, the Cartel of the Sons, does not even exist because it was not in the DOJ indictment.
But I can understand where they're coming from, and where they're coming from, again, when I hear this, I always say it boils back to the government, where it is because when people feel frustrated and they feel that their government cannot protect them, it's why they're seeking for help externally. Is why we hear citizens in Shikafi, in Zamfara, Zamfara state, entering into a truce with Bello Turji and saying that they will not report his activities so long as he doesn't attack.
He will attack them eventually. He will always use them for
have you not read the Wolf and the...
There's no agreement with any... Look at the other time. Such an agreement ended up in slaughtering 40 farmers in Borno State.
Very, very sad.
So you don't have
but still on the front page of the Tribune newspaper, there's an interesting story. Nigeria Inland Waterway is to acquire barges and vessels with 10.3 billion in 2026. The entire southern border of Nigeria is coastal states. We have many networks of rivers, but our waterways are underutilized. You know, you could get to Port Novo in less than 3 hours if you go to Marina, the Niwa jetty there, and take some of these boats. But the problem is information and then the type of boats that you're used. Some of those ferries are not modern. People fear safety, and the fact that they're going to even dredge 100 kilometers of waterways with 1.8 billion naira, I think it's a laudable development.
You know, when we in this country, what is most lacking in Nigeria is information. There's a huge ecosystem in the waterways. Those who have traveled, if you can harness it, it will be an advantage. What I don't like about Nigerian reportage, there's always this billion, they talk about money a lot in everything. Every problem they throw money, because everybody who works in government, the majority of people who work in government, they're actually looking for this problem in order to bring money out of the treasury. So once there's a crisis, money comes out. And when money comes out, then corruption takes charge. You begin to, because we throw money, that's why there's so much corruption, and that's why you see politicians at each other's throat, because they know that it is in the problem solving that the politicians are getting. That's why you see it boils down to every part, having been in Niger, in Mali, in Malawi, all these countries, the narrative across Africa is similar.
All right, let's hold that thought and hear from Kingsley. Kingsley is calling from Benin. Good morning, Kingsley. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead with your thought.
Good morning. Please, I want to talk about those states, Benin City. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, because a spokesman came to your studio. He's talking about opposition. You know one thing about our state, because if you didn't go out, you will not see what is happening. Our governor is doing flyover. Is it everybody wanted to pass that flyover? There's some road they have to do in this Benin. Maybe if you people can come to Benin, inside the city, there's some road they have to do. They will not do that. They will come and do the one people can be seeing that they are walking. Anyway, there's no problem. He said he want to give Ashuralu million votes. Whether it's the people that pack with them that they want to give that vote, when it comes to that election, we have to see. Because it's just campaigning. They are working. They should come and show us, we that stay in Benin, the road they are doing, if it's not flyover. Thank you very much.
The one thing I can guarantee, Olive, is that Kingsley's votes will not be among those 2.5 million votes that Governor Okpebolo has promised Ashiwaju in 2027.
Not. Unless something changes between now and then in the way that they see that governance has been done.
And Olive, just before we go on this break, I wanted to take your opinion from it, as someone that's widely traveled, that why are we underutilizing our waterways? Is it because of marine spirit?
That's a very valid question. We will answer that question when we come back from this break. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Benga had asked a very important question that, we've answered off air, so I believe.
No, I need you to share your knowledge with the viewers.
It's Mr. Akatuba, because he's a traditional.
We seem to have a healthy fear of.
Naturally, we are very superstitious, and originally Africans are animists, and we believe in the fact that the gods are in the trees or in the water. So, but I don't think so. I just believe that
it's a lack of infrastructural development.
A lack of government interest. Our roads are overutilized. That's why we hardly finish construction, then we need rehabilitation.
I mean, Lagos is called, we have more waterways than the Netherlands, for example.
The advantage we have is awesome. Up till now, we've not been able to develop transportation by water to Delta, to all the
Yes, the entire southern states.
The coastline, the coastal road, because we didn't utilize that resources. If we had used it, a lot of people would have tried.
And it's relaxing. I mean, look at you. You've been to Zanzibar. People that go to Zanzibar, for example, people use the ferry system. Yeah. Sometimes you can even drive your car, roll in, roll out into the ferries, and you move to different islands. Senegal, from mainland Dakar to Gori Island, they utilize it.
We need to put more effort. We need to decongest the use of our roads. All of these heavy, goods that are being transported. Yeah. If they can dredge some of these waterways and ensure that even some big ships can move goods between here and to Port Harcourt.
Exactly. And that will reduce the pressure on the roads and this whole traffic.
A last story on the Tribune newspaper before we move on to other stories. I believe 3 of us on this set wearing a touch of green. That's in patriotism and in honor of the victory. The pending victory of the Super Eagles over the Atlas Lions of Morocco tonight.
Say Atlas Mountain Lions.
Yes, Atlas Mountain Lions of Morocco tonight. AFCON semis, if you look at the top right corner of the Tribune newspaper, I fear Osimhen, Iwobi, and Lukman, Morocco coach. My reply to the Morocco coach. And NFF chairman allays fears over officiating because the officials for that for the game will be the referee, I believe, is from South Africa, and the third official, the linesman, they're from South Africa and Ghana. And that online rivalry. Beyond xenophobia, online rivalry, we're always bantering with Ghana and South Africa. Is there cause for alarm?
Well, but before you answer, let's take a call from Francis. Francis calling from Akwa Ibom. Good morning, Francis. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Francis, please go ahead.
I always say that Nigerian politicians are surprised that we believe them, even when they don't believe themselves. Now, I always say this because
whenever people are doing this newspaper review, I wish you can change the name from newspaper review to Nigeria Review. And don't bring any newspaper because we already know the problem of Nigeria. Our problem is this 5% that are governing us. I don't also fail to say, Nigeria is yet to get a good charger to charge us. All the chargers that are battling from one political party to another cannot charge this country. As that, let's leave that aside. US is not coming to help us. US wants to help themselves using Nigeria as their ladder. That man called their president. The killing going on in America, in our own case, is terrorists. In their own case, it is their security people, and they are not. He's not helping them. He wants to help people that because he knows we have what they don't have. Like the man in the studio said, they are a transactional government. Whatever they do for you, they have something they want to collect. When they finish collecting it, they will now go. Go to Libya. They have collected what they want. They hand them over to the same people that they want to protect them to. Go to Afghanistan. It's the same thing. Once they are through, they will hand you over to the same people they want to protect you from. So I think Nigerians should stop this thing about, somebody come from somewhere to come and help us. We can help ourselves until we get the right charger. Even that my brother wearing suits, they have not told me whether he has won his presidency of his estate or not. I'm here to get that. Thank you.
June this year, my estate residential association, I'm contesting for the presidency. So when I return, I'll become, she'll be addressing me as president.
Your Excellency, sir. That's a thankless job, and it's really praiseworthy that you are throwing yourself.
And you really believe this man?
Very thankless job.
No, I'm just a tenant too.
As a tenant, even in my estate, tenants are allowed to be president. It's not only landlord. It's a resident association.
Shout out to my
estate.
Shout out to my estate. You know,
are you an active participant in your estate?
In the WhatsApp group, when there's no power, I'll just go there. I'm like, please, what's the update? Is there power? That's about power.
You know, I mean, you're already dealing with a lot
you are the one
with Nigeria.
That pressure.
No. And I appreciate them when they do a great work. Thank you so much for the great work.
So the coach says,
I fear
Osimhen, Iwobi, and Lukman. He should also fear Nwabalu and others.
This is the reason why I'm not carried away by that fear. What he has done, he's crippled them already. And he's only telling Nigeria and making us feel them and ensure that we don't change tactics. So he's only deceiving.
So it's reverse psychology.
Yes, he's not afraid. He has put them in check.
He said that now he will not be surprised if they then change their tactics. That's part of what he said.
Wow.
So, you see, he has studied them, that these are the damage. He has already checkmated them. He's told his teammates. So he's now telling us, I'm afraid of them, so you would think you have good guys and strong guys. You will neutralize them. Football is an interesting game. I wish and I pray they win as they have been winning. But it's important also to know that game of football is either you win or you lose, so that people do not go and hurt themselves and damage. I've seen a man who damaged his own car. He stood in front of the boot bonnet and broke the frustration of defeat.
Wahala.
That was even Premiership, not a national game.
Must have
so we should go in there with sportsmanship. We should support our egos.
We will be doing a double against them, because if you remember the WAFCON finals, they were 2 goals up against the ladies, the Falcons of Nigeria, and Nigeria came back to beat them at home. They were host nation. So if we beat them today, we would have beaten their men and women and also their animals. The eagle would have defeated the lion.
Now, what is it about these lion eagles in the African team?
It's a nickname.
Well, it's so interesting.
It's
Taranga lions, this and that.
It's and the Benin, Republic of Benin, the nickname for their team, they used to be Squirrels of Benin. Then they said it's too small. It's a mixed animal. They changed it to leopards of Benin, but it hasn't really helped their fortunes on the field.
Okay, we'll come back to talk about that a little more, but let's hear from Stanley. Good morning, Stanley. Thanks for calling.
Black Stars of Ghana.
So another thing that he had mentioned again in the, after saying that he won't be surprised if they change their tactic, their captain, Wilfred Ndidi, is not going to be there.
He's suspended.
On suspension. Raphael Oyendika is taking his place. He thinks that Ndidi not being there is going to help the Moroccan team. I don't know if you share.
Why is he speaking? Is our own coach not talking?
Can't you see what he's saying? Everything about his
He thinks he's wise.
He knows that the only way you can break down this place it's like when you are trying to deceive somebody, you deceive in this way, you go this way.
He's speaking. Now I'm wondering, is he Morocco's coach or Nigeria's coach? Because he's speaking more about the Nigerian team than his own team.
It's because it was an interview. They asked him this question.
And I like the fact that our coach is not speaking so much.
He does his talking on the pitch.
And the boys are flying right now, so they are leaving their name, the Flying Eagles.
Yes.
So let them fly to victory and make all the dollars that have been promised.
I also want to say that the federal government, because there's this pattern of giving them $100,000 if they win. Nigeria is not that rich. Please, they should give them a handshake
the president
and give
said
them
we met our
$10,000.
And that we are financially buoyant.
Yeah.
Because Oliver and I and Joe, we are also doing a great job in informing Nigerians every day. We also deserve $100,000.
Football is unfair. The kind of money you pay players is so humongous that the spectators just cheer them to their wealth and prosperity. And you get nothing, you pay for it, and you wound yourself up. And some guys go with millions of dollars.
But the good thing, they deserve that because they have a short shelf life. I mean, and it's a very risky job. Injuries could happen and things like that. Yeah.
Those successful players, they remember this. I hope.
I mean, I like, in response to that, you know, when we were talking about Ndidi's absence, I just checked to see if our coach spoke about it, and he did, and he downplayed Ndidi's absence, saying yes, Ndidi brings so much to the team, and he wishes that Ndidi was a part of the match, but that he also has, that it's a team, and he has faith in those who are going to be, you know, replacing him.
Fantastic.
But come 9 p.m., we gallant for front of television.
Why is it so late, though? Don't they know that we have Breakfast Central tomorrow?
Because if they just need you to watch it.
Because if it will end in 2 hours, 9 to 11. That's 11 p.m. and we need to prepare for tomorrow. That extra time, that's you are looking at midnight, and we need good sleep in order to be consistent and prepare for the show, so we can continue to give you this level of excellence. And then there's also time for celebration, drinking and marrying after we win. That's another 2 hours. I have to go pick Olive. We have to go to the disco to celebrate.
I don't do such. I don't do such. No, I don't.
Okay.
Right. Okay, let's come to the front page of this Nigeria. Now, this is a very unsettling story on the big story there. It said federal government consultant Oyedele alleges death threats. Has it got into that?
You see, we underestimate the level of division in Nigeria. Sometimes the Gaddafi made a statement for which reason Nigeria hated Gaddafi. We've been operating two countries, two ideologies, both religion and all kinds of things. So if you see what is happening with the implementation of these tax reforms, many parts of this country are not pleased. And they are pushing back. I told you here the other day that alarm, that the document that was passed is different from what is gazetted. I told you that it's an orchestration from the back. Even those who from the Ministry of Justice, someone was recruited to do all that. We live in a very, very complicated country. If you go to Abuja, you go into the civil service, it takes guts to lead this country. The Nigerian president on a daily basis is shocked about the country he leads. Anyone who has led Nigeria is mostly quiet after his tenure. He doesn't like talking.
No, you're not talking because they are still getting a lot of money.
Sometimes he's perplexed by the quality of people and the hypocrisy of the people he has governed.
Okay.
So we need to be we pray for his safety because he's been very forthright. You see, people think tax reform is against the progress of individuals. No. Nigerians, we must ask ourselves, the fact that we are demanding this country, that this country needs to do this for you, is because you are born in Nigeria. what else are you doing? What are you giving?
Nigerians are not saying that they're not going to pay tax. They're saying the entire process should be shrouded in secrecy. They should be open.
But the tax is for the country.
They should be open
There's
to...
nothing, do you think the president will be there forever, that he made the tax law just because he wants to disadvantage Nigerians? He's making the tax law, tax reform, that other governments will enjoy the benefit of collecting tax and the transparency of the tax process. There cannot be a perfect system. If there is a problem, let's go to the problem, the way the white man behaves. No white person does. They came to bomb Sokoto and some bomb did not detonate. It tells you that it's not foolproof. As great as the Tomahawk missile that was, didn't you see the one that did not detonate? Didn't we see the one that went off target? Does it mean that they are very perfect? There's no, even the Western world, the advanced nations, there are errors. In their elections too, we saw errors. Doesn't mean they are perfect. The only difference in Western people, the white man, is that he identifies his problem and solve it and never loses the focus. When they were coming to colonize you, the people died in the process, but they didn't give up.
Okay.
We easily give up when we notice a small fault and everybody just throws up.
We have a few minutes to go. Let's hope that we can touch this as quickly as possible. It's on the front page of the Punch. Let's talk a bit of politics. Top left corner of the Punch, you can see the picture of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. It says 2027, ADC faction eyes Jonathan Saraki Makinde alliance. What say you?
ADC faction, one of the factions. Okay, it's not an Atiku faction. There's another faction there that is different from Obi's own. So ADC is having a division. Some people are working to look for Jonathan to come and be their presidential candidate. Atiku is the owner of that coalition.
Atiku
is the owner, yeah.
Yeah, how?
The fact that it was the first to join does not mean it's the owner.
It is for him that it was formed. It's only him that will withdraw.
Members will vehemently disagree with you.
The members of the ADC, they are going to disagree because each time they are speaking, yesterday somebody was speaking, Ladan Salihu was speaking, and each time he was talking of their presidential candidate, was Atiku was calling.
So he might be aligned or inclined
why
to
you always calling this man? It tells you both, if I didn't know we call it the original presidential candidate. Except they are able to sit Atiku
But the
down.
delegates will decide when they go to convention.
The delegates, they belong to Atiku.
Not all of them.
All right. You'll see what will happen. Except he leaves, that I step down. Then you will see a Peter Obi and possibly a Kwankwanso coming up. That's
How about Rotimi Amechi?
No, Amechi has no chance.
How about Nasir?
You know why? If they give it to Peter Obi, it is already a bad game for him. Because Peter Obi is not going to sell ADC in the north. They know it. That's where the problem is. Peter Obi is not going to be sold to the northerners now. But Peter Obi will be a force in the south.
Okay, let me take one comment from YouTube before we call it a day. Mokpinye Chukwuemeka says, the tax I have been paying, what have I gotten from the government? I provide my own power, healthcare, and many other things. Nigerians will pay tax, but we don't trust the system.
I like what she has said. What you have paid in the past has not been well utilized because it has been insignificant. There has not been what you call an effective collection of tax in Nigeria. From citizens, maybe corporate taxes are being collected, but not adequate to run this country. This country is expensive. Yeah, but our constitution did not prepare for a country that doesn't have money. We wrote a constitution as though we were wealthy. Imagine the National Assembly. If you know the cost of running our National Assembly.
Mr. Katuba.
102 legislators.
Yeah, that's where the question. That's where the question comes in. Are we fiscally responsible? Because how do you justify 40 billion naira for a CCTV system on the Third Mainland Bridge?
That is what came in the news. But
I mean, it's everywhere, and nobody has denied it.
We have to interrogate that figure.
No,
it looks very humongous, but for you to put CCTV on the third
11.8 kilometers.
Just a minute. You need a lot of wiring, and the kind of wiring that will make the CCTV functional in that terrain, we don't know it. So that's why let's not just hear 40 billion.
No. Is it fiscally responsible to spend that?
I can't say to that because I don't have the figures until you look at what has been posted before you can speak.
Okay.
In my own opinion.
In 5 seconds.
Yes, just to say my own is, in this country, let us walk towards a time where oil will no longer be so that the country can survive like other nations.
Well, the good news is that gold.
And now that we're about to pay taxes, we will now be annoyed enough to question government officials when they live a certain lifestyle.
Yes, we have a budget that they've injected.
Yeah, I've already started paying taxes.
2026 budget, you look at the budget and your heart is broken because MDAs were asked to carry over 70% of capital projects and not introduce new projects. Yet they not only carried over 70%, they introduced new projects.
Yeah, I've already started this. I bought meat pie yesterday. My VAT was 330 naira.
Okay, we have to go now. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow. We celebrate Armed Forces Remembrance Day tomorrow as we celebrate the sacrifices of our heroes, alive as well as the fallen heroes. Join us again same time from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Olive Emodi.
And I'm Benga Borough. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.